Let's get to work. Hello, Joe Gruder again for another Gruder Construction blog about these great houses I work in. And I'd like to show you a few things today, introduce you to some people and or a person, and show you on the blueprints what we're doing. But first, here's one of the things I see in all these beautiful old homes is this lumber up here. This is the old lumber. This house was built back in 1911, and during that time, the lumber for these homes in Pasadena and around San Francisco and Los Angeles, it was milled out of the states, the Pacific West states, up in Oregon, Washington, and Northern California up in Humboldt County. Up in Washington and Oregon was the Douglas fir, and that was brought down here on the boats. They'd put that in the sailing ships back then and bring it down to Los Angeles, the port of San Pedro, and it would be trucked into the other places around the nation. The state. But take a look at this lumber up here. All of this lumber, when they talk about a 2x4 today, in the old days it really was 2x4, and you can see how up here it is 2 inches thick. This one is 2 inches thick by 9 inches tall. And all this old lumber, another thing to note in this whole area here, yeah, thank you, Vincent, that's 9 inches instead of being like 8 inches in size. But you don't see any steel brackets. Back in those days, everything was put together with well-cut lumber and 16 penny and 20 penny nails. It's just unbelievable. And if you look over here, this is the outside of the house. So this is 2x4 slatting, and on the outside that is the shingles. There's, between us and the great outdoors, there's nothing but these shingles and the interior plaster. There's no insulation in here like in modern houses, and there's no tar paper between the exterior siding and the 2x4s and so on. And what's very interesting in these old houses, when you look at this, there's no tar paper and no insulation, like I said, and there's no rot. The main reason there's no rot is this is old growth lumber. So most of this lumber was taken out of trees 100 years old or older, and because it breathes so well, there's no moisture trapped in these walls, even in the winter months, and you just don't get rot. And without moisture, the termites, they like something to drink while eating their wood. So I know all these modern things save energy with the insulation and so on, but as far as waterproofing goes, I don't go for it. I'm very old school, and you can see the proof is in the pudding. There's no rot. Everything's in very good shape right here. So along the lines of the old wood, there's a lot of conservation these days, which is good. And the owner had asked us to save this floor in here, and we're finding that's very difficult because over the old oak floors that were in here, they put a laminate and then some linoleum on top of that. And I'd like to introduce my son Vincent right now, who's been tearing this out for Gruder Construction, and he can show you how.
Yeah, so we were, the owner here obviously would like to save as much of the beautiful oak floor as possible, but you can see here, this is the bottom side, and you can see just how many staples they actually put through there. So unfortunately, if we were to go through the process to try and save this, pulling out all these staples,
labor would be way intense.
It'd be so intense, and even then, the final product wouldn't be perfect. So we'd really be unhappy with the product. So we're going to try and save as much as we can in areas where it looks like this, because they simply just put 2 or 3 layers of linoleum floor, and also some of it actually has really thin plywood.
Now how thick is this here? This looks like, this is really thin too. This is only 3/8 oak flooring. Most people don't do 3/8 anymore. It cracks too easy, and you don't get enough life out of it to resand it a few times.
So that's the best we can do with this.
Yeah. So, okay, if you'd like to take a look at the plans here, we'll kind of show you what we're doing, and then I'll show you the scope of it right here. So this is how the house used to be. There used to be the bathroom, which is right over there, and this was the kitchen area, and there's a little mud room at the back of the house, and a family room. And it wasn't real useful for the way the people live in their home. So this is what we're going to do. We've taken out the bathroom here, and this is going to be a large kitchen, which is now much closer to the dining room. And off the kitchen, you'll have the family room here, and we're going to have an entertainment center with their large TV. And over here is the bathroom. We'll put the bathroom over there now. And so it's going to be a much better layout thanks to Harvest Architecture. So this is really the fun part, demoing out things, and we find what we can do and sometimes what we find we have to do that we didn't plan on doing. You can see how big it is now. It's all wide open. The ceiling joist and the wall studs are all exposed, and then we are also going to be taking out all the floor to expose the floor joist, because we need to go underneath the house and add to the foundation, strengthen up the foundation for the new weight that will be on top of some of the posts and so on. The walls are going to be repositioned, and we'll have to put posts and beam to reposition the load of the second floor. There's a second floor above us here. I might also point out that over here, in these old houses in Pasadena, if a house is built prior to 1976, we're not allowed to demo it until we have it tested for lead, asbestos, whatever else there might be. And over here is an old, we got lucky. There was no asbestos in the floors, but there are air conditioning ducts that have to be removed, and some of them are going to stay in place. We simply paint them with a thick paint that's meant for painting over asbestos paper that will lock them in place and make them so they're not going to fly around in the air anymore.
The word is encapsulate. It's going to encapsulate the asbestos.
Oh, we're going to encapsulate the asbestos. Yeah, thank you, son.
Yeah.
My son Vincent here, he's worked in air conditioning for years and has come across a lot of air conditioning ducts and had to take care of them in such a manner. So yeah, this is not something that you would want to come over and rub your hands on, because it is essentially a paper mache. They mix the asbestos in with some adhesive, light adhesive, and they would wrap it on these pipes when it was wet, and then when it dry out, the insulating value of asbestos is tremendous. So just a paper thin asbestos around the duct would retain a lot of heat very well. And you can see here we've got it open to the basement there. We're tearing it out. And over here is something we found that we're going to have to consult with the engineer and the architect, is this water pipe, this drain pipe coming right down here from an upstairs bathroom. And the plan was to have windows along here and the kitchen all along. So we may have to reposition this over on that wall, but that's up to the architect and the engineer to figure out how we're going to resolve these problems. So
that's kind of the fun part about construction, is the plans say one thing, but the actual build says another. So if you look here, this is kind of unexpected. We could see through the drywall that was there, this beam here, but now we got to figure out, because it's not really in the plans right now, how we're going to put a beam up inside there to support these floor joists, because if you see these floor joists, they come and they rest on this beam.
yeah, they hold hands.
They hold hands, exactly. So they're overlapping the beam, and this beam is supporting the second story here.
Once we take the beam out, we have to replace that
Put in
strength.
some temporary walls here, and then cut into that, put a beam that the engineer decides is large enough to support the weight, and we're going to have to talk to our architect about how we're going to work around that. So just kind of the fun part about construction is just coming across things on the job site.
It really is. So there's where we are to date. It's a big hollow shell inside, and we've come across some interesting things. We've passed our asbestos test and taken out what we need to, and tonight we'll be sending away a large dumpster full of demoed material. Maybe you should go out and show people how much, in a space this big, how much trash is in the trash can out there. It's amazing.
It's an unbelievable amount.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay, so Grutter Construction here again. I wanted to do a quick little nuts and bolts. Maybe it's a little mundane for some people, but I wanted to describe the video that we just made in the house. Where does all that trash go? Well, the city of Pasadena requires us to use certain trash companies that recycle. So we have it here in a recycle bin of Heritage Disposal, and they're going to separate the wood from the drywall, from the glass, from the metal, and so on, and all these things will get recycled so that we can meet our mandate. So that's what we do. It's a big evolution in the trash industry these days. What gets recycled, what doesn't get recycled. Some people are questioning, are you really recycling it? And why are we limited to the amount of different trash companies we can use? So yeah, it's real confusing. And I, as the contractor, just want to build things. And I really think that the trash industry, the disposal industry, should come up with easier, better ways to handle this. Here comes our dump truck right now to pick up this truck. Heritage Disposal. All right, thanks again for watching another Gruder construction video.